The contract sat in front of me like a coiled snake, my parents' expectant faces boring holes into my skull. My mother pushed the pen closer. My sister wouldn't meet my eyes. "Just sign it, Sarah," Dad said, his voice carrying that edge I'd learned to recognize as non-negotiable. "The closing is in 3 days." 3 days. They'd given me 3 days to decide whether to torpedo my own financial future for a house I didn't even know existed until yesterday morning. Christmas dinner had turned into an ambush, my mother casually mentioning over dessert that Emily needed my signature on some paperwork. Some paperwork. A $200,000 mortgage. I flipped through the pages again, my hands shaking. You already made an offer. You already went through inspections. When exactly were you planning to tell me I'd be co-signing? We knew you'd overthink it, Mom said, reaching across the table to pat my hand. I pulled away. This is what families do, honey. Emily needs a stable place to live while she finishes her doctorate. The house is perfect, it's right by campus, and the sellers accepted our offer. Your offer, I corrected. Not mine. I wasn't consulted. Emily finally looked up, her eyes already red-rimmed. I thought you'd want to help me, Sarah. You've always been there for me. The guilt card, of course. I stood up from the dining table, the chair scraping loudly against the hardwood floor. Through the window, I could see the neighborhood where I'd grown up, the same neighborhood where they wanted Emily to buy her perfect little starter home. Meanwhile, I'd been apartment hopping for years, saving every spare dollar. I've been saving for my own down payment for 4 years, I said quietly. 4 years of 60-hour work weeks and skipping vacations. If I co-sign this, the bank will count it against my debt-to-income ratio. I won't qualify for my own mortgage. Dad set down his coffee mug with a thud. You make 6 figures. Emily's barely scraping by on her stipend. You can wait another year or two. She can't. Another year or two? As if my dreams had an expiration date that could be casually extended. I thought about my apartment, the 3rd-floor walk-up with the leaky faucet and paper-thin walls. I thought about the house listings I'd bookmarked, the neighborhoods I'd researched, the pre-approval letter I'd worked so hard to get. What happens when Emily can't make the payments? I asked. She's got 3 more years of grad school and already has $30,000 in student loans. She'll make the payments, Mom snapped. Stop being dramatic. I'm being realistic, and the answer is no. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Emily burst into tears. Dad's face turned red. Mom stood up slowly, her chair pushed back with deliberate control. If you walk out that door without signing, Mom said, her voice ice cold, you're choosing to abandon your sister. And there will be consequences. I picked up my purse. My hands had stopped shaking. Something inside me had crystallized into steel. Then I guess I'm choosing me for once. The drive back to my apartment took 40 minutes. My phone started buzzing before I even hit the highway. Text after text. Mom, Dad, Emily, my aunt, my cousin. The family group chat was exploding. I turned my phone face down and cranked up the radio. But by the time I unlocked my apartment door, doubt had started creeping in. I'd spent my whole life being the responsible one, the helper, the one who stepped up. The adoption comment I'd made in that Reddit post I'd written last night kept echoing in my head. I'd barely thought about it in years, but now it felt relevant. I was 5 when they adopted me. Emily was born when I was 8. Their miracle baby. Their real daughter. I shook my head. That was unfair. They'd always treated me well, hadn't they? Given me opportunities, loved me. But had they loved me, or had they loved what I could provide? My phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again, and again. Finally, I answered. You need to come back right now. Dad's voice was tight. We need to talk about this like adults. I am being an adult, I said. Adults don't co-sign loans they can't afford to be responsible for. Your sister is family. So am I. Silence. Then, that's not what I meant. Isn't it? He hung up. I stared at my phone, my stomach churning. Within minutes, Emily was calling. I almost didn't answer, but guilt won out. Sarah, please. Her voice was thick with tears. I don't understand why you're doing this. This house is everything to me. It has a home office where I can write my dissertation and a garden, and it's in a safe neighborhood. Please don't take this away from me. I'm not taking anything away. I'm just not giving you something I don't have to give. You have plenty. You make so much money, and I have nothing. I worked for that money, Emily. I worked my tail off while you partied through undergrad. That's not fair. None of this is fair. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry you're in this situation, but it's not my responsibility to fix it. You're my sister, and you're mine, but you're asking me to risk my entire financial future. Do you understand that? If you miss even one payment, my credit gets destroyed. If you default, I'm liable for the full amount, $200,000. I won't default. God, Sarah, why don't you trust me? It's not about trust. It's about reality. You don't have income. You don't have savings. You don't have a backup plan. I have you. The words hit like a slap. I have you. As if I was a safety net, a resource to be tapped, not a person with my own goals and dreams. Not this time, I whispered, and ended the call. I spent the next day working from home, trying to focus on code reviews and team meetings while my phone continued its relentless buzzing. The family group chat had devolved into a full-scale attack. My aunt called me selfish. My cousin said I was being cruel. My uncle, who I barely knew, weighed in to say family always comes first. Only my grandmother stayed silent, and that worried me more than the attacks. By evening, Mom sent a text that made my blood run cold. We need you to come by tomorrow. We found a solution that works for everyone. A solution? I didn't trust it, but curiosity and a tiny thread of hope made me agree. When I arrived at my parents' house the next morning, there were more cars in the driveway than expected. My aunt and uncle were there, so was Emily's graduate advisor, a woman I'd met once at a department party. And sitting at the dining table was a man in a suit I didn't recognize. Sarah, thanks for coming. Dad gestured to an empty chair. This is Robert Chen. He's a financial advisor. I remained standing. What's going on? Robert stood and offered his hand. I shook it warily. Your parents have asked me to help mediate a family financial planning session. I understand there's been some disagreement about a property purchase. There's no disagreement, I said. I said no to co-signing. That should be the end of it. Please, just hear us out. Mom's voice was sweet now, conciliatory. We've worked out a compromise that protects everyone. Against my better judgment, I sat down. Robert opened a folder and spread out several documents. Your parents have proposed setting up a family trust. They'd contribute $20,000 toward the down payment. Your sister would make the monthly payments, and you'd co-sign but be protected by a legal agreement that limits your liability. You can't limit liability on a mortgage, I said flatly. The bank doesn't care about side agreements. No, but we can set up protections. Robert pushed a document toward me. Your parents would take out a life insurance policy on your sister with you as the beneficiary to cover the remaining balance if something happens. They'd also establish an escrow account with 6 months of mortgage payments as a safety net. I scanned the documents. It was more thought out than I'd expected. And where would this escrow money come from? Mom and Dad exchanged glances. We'd take it from your college fund, Mom said. I looked up sharply. My what? We set aside money for your college, but you got scholarships. It's been sitting in an account earning interest. It's about $30,000 now. The room tilted. You've had $30,000 set aside for me, and you never mentioned it? It was for emergencies, Dad said. This is an emergency. This is Emily wanting a house she can't afford. Sarah, my aunt, leaned forward. Stop being hysterical. Your parents are offering you a very generous compromise. Generous? They're using money that was meant for me to protect me from a loan I don't want to co-sign in the first place. I stood up, the chair screeching. This is insane. All of this is insane. Emily started crying again. Why do you hate me so much? I don't hate you. The words came out as a shout. Everyone stared. I lowered my voice. I don't hate you, Emily, But I'm not responsible for funding your life. The money was meant for education, Mom said coldly. Emily's education. Your education is done. So it was never really mine. Don't twist this around. Dad's face was red again. We're trying to help both of you. By sacrificing my future for hers. Again, I grabbed my purse. I'm leaving. If you walk out now, Mom said, standing up, you're not welcome back. We're done enabling your selfishness. I stopped at the door. Enabling my selfishness? I've been the one enabling all of you. I'm the one who helped Emily with her college applications. I'm the one who lent you money when Dad's business was struggling. I'm the one who always shows up, always helps, always sacrifices. And the one time I say no, I'm selfish? You were family, Mom said quietly. We thought you understood what that meant. You were family, past tense. The words hung in the air like poison. I left without another word. For 3 days, I heard nothing. No calls, no texts. The silence was somehow worse than the harassment. I threw myself into work, taking on extra projects, staying late at the office. My manager asked if everything was okay. I lied and said yes. On the 4th day, I got an email from my bank. Unusual activity had been detected on my credit report. I logged into my monitoring service and felt the floor drop out from under me. Someone had run my credit multiple times, and there were 2 new inquiries from mortgage lenders. My hands shook as I called the bank's fraud department. The representative pulled up my account. It looks like someone attempted to open a home equity line of credit using your information, but it was flagged because you don't own property. There were also 3 mortgage pre-qualification checks in the past week. I didn't authorize any of those. Do you have any idea who might have access to your personal information? I thought about the financial advisor meeting. The documents spread across the table. My social security number would have been on my college fund paperwork. Yes, I said, my voice hollow. I know exactly who. I filed a police report that afternoon. The officer took notes while I explained everything. The pressure to co-sign, the ambush meeting, the credit checks. Do you have proof your family accessed your information? Not yet, but I'm going to get it. I drove to my parents' house. Dad answered the door, surprise flickering across his face. Sarah, we didn't expect you. I know what you did. His expression shifted to confusion. What are you talking about? Someone ran my credit multiple times. Someone tried to open a home equity line in my name. I pushed past him into the house. Mom was in the kitchen. Emily was on the couch. You went through my college fund paperwork, I said, staring at Mom. You got my social security number, and you tried to forge my signature. That's ridiculous, Mom said, but her voice lacked conviction. I pulled out my phone and showed them the credit report. 3 mortgage inquiries, 1 attempted HELOC, all in the past week, all unauthorized. Emily's face had gone white. I didn't know, she whispered. I swear I didn't know. But you did, I said, turning to my parents. You knew I wouldn't sign, so you tried to forge it. Dad's jaw tightened. We were trying to help you both. If we could just get Emily into the house, we could work out the payments later. You'd never actually have to pay anything. That's fraud. That's identity theft. That's a crime. Your family, Mom's composure cracked. You think we'd actually let you get hurt? We were protecting you. By stealing my identity? We were trying to force you to see reason, she was shouting now. You've become so selfish since you got that job, so focused on money. We raised you better than this. You raised me to be Emily's backup plan. The words exploded out of me. That's all I've ever been, isn't it? The adopted daughter who owes you for being taken in. The one who's supposed to sacrifice everything because I'm not really yours. We never said that, Dad said quietly. You didn't have to. I was crying now, tears streaming down my face. Every time you called Emily your miracle baby, every time you excused her failures and celebrated her mediocre successes while I had to be perfect just to get noticed, Every time you expected me to give up something so she could have more, you showed me exactly where I ranked. Emily stood up. Sarah, I never wanted this. I never asked them to do any of this. But you benefited from it. You've always benefited from it. I wiped my eyes. I'm done. I'm filing a fraud report with the credit bureaus. I'm freezing my credit, and I'm done with all of you. If you do this, Mom said, her voice shaking, we'll never forgive you. You'll destroy this family. No, I said, heading for the door. You already did that the day you decided I was worth less than your biological daughter. I walked out into the afternoon sun, got in my car, and drove away. Behind me, I could hear Emily crying and Mom shouting. I didn't look back. The next week was a blur of phone calls, paperwork, and lawyers. I froze my credit with all 3 bureaus. I filed a formal identity theft report. I gave the police everything I had: emails, text messages, credit reports. The detective assigned to my case was sympathetic but realistic. Family cases are tough, she said. Even with evidence, prosecution is rare unless there's significant financial damage. I don't care about prosecution, I said. I just want them to stop. They did stop. The calls and texts ceased completely. I was blocked from the family group chat. My grandmother finally reached out. A brief email saying she was sorry things had gotten so messy, but she hoped we'd all find peace. She didn't take sides. That hurt almost as much as everything else. 2 weeks after I walked out, I got a letter from a lawyer representing my parents. They were suing me for defamation and demanding I retract the police report. The letter claimed my accusations were false and damaging to their reputations. I showed it to my own attorney, a sharp woman named Jennifer, who specialized in family law. She read it and laughed. This is garbage. They're trying to scare you. Is it working? Should it be? I thought about it, really thought about it. I thought about the years of being second best, of subliminating my needs, of accepting crumbs of affection while Emily got the whole cake. I thought about the college fund they'd hidden from me, the forged credit checks, the casual way Mom had said, "You were family." No, I said, it's not working. Jennifer smiled. Good, because we're going to fight this. The lawsuit went nowhere. Within a month, my parents' lawyer quietly withdrew it, probably after explaining how discovery would work and what might come to light about the identity theft. My credit was cleaned up, the fraudulent inquiries were removed, I got a new social security number as a precaution, and I kept saving for my house. 3 months after the blow-up, I got an email from Emily. No subject line, just a message. The house sale fell through. They wouldn't approve the mortgage without a cosigner. Mom and Dad are furious. I moved back in with them. I just thought you should know. I'm sorry for everything. I stared at the email for a long time. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, no guilt. Just emptiness where my family used to be. I didn't reply. 6 months later, I closed on my own house. A small 2-bedroom in a neighborhood I loved, with a yard and good schools nearby and a coffee shop on the corner. I moved in on a Saturday with help from coworkers who'd become friends. We ordered pizza and drank beer on my empty living room floor, and someone made a toast to new beginnings. I didn't tell my family. They didn't know my new address. They didn't know about my promotion or my life or anything anymore. And slowly, painfully, I realized that was okay. I built new traditions, found chosen family, learned that love isn't supposed to come with conditions and price tags. I still have moments where I miss them, miss the idea of them anyway, the family I thought I had. But I don't miss being their safety net, their backup plan, their disposable daughter. I'm worth more than that. I always was. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have co-signed to keep family peace?